Tanker under attack. August 5, 2023. Kerch Strait. The Sig, Russian-flagged oil tanker carrying 11,000 tons of diesel fuel, reports explosion near waterline. Crew scrambles to assess damage. Fire breaks out in engine compartment. Black smoke pours from the stern. This is not accident. This is war coming to Russia's oil export infrastructure. Ukrainian maritime drone struck at 3:47 a.m. local time. Welcome to Black Sea Doctrine, where energy warfare meets naval combat and oil becomes weapon. The Sig represents critical target, not random civilian vessel. This tanker is part of Russia's shadow fleet, vessels operating under questionable registration to evade Western sanctions, transporting Russian oil and petroleum products to global markets, generating revenue that funds the war machine. Every tanker that reaches port is money for missiles and tanks. Ukraine sees the logic clearly: strike the tankers, cut the revenue. The attack on the Sig succeeds partially. The drone detonates against hull plating below the waterline. Explosion tears small hole but fails to sink the vessel. Damage control teams contain flooding. Fire suppression systems activate. The tanker is disabled but survives. Towed to Kerch port for emergency repairs. Cargo partially salvaged. The mission achieves strategic effect even without sinking. The tanker is out of service for months. Insurance rates spike immediately. Maritime insurance industry reacts to Ukrainian attacks on oil shipping. War risk premiums for Black Sea tanker operations increase by 400% within 1 week. Underwriters refuse to cover certain vessels entirely. Russian oil exports face sudden logistics crisis. Companies struggle to find ships willing to transit Black Sea under any price. One strait, one energy choke point. Would you captain a tanker through these waters? The Sig attack is first confirmed strike on Russian oil tanker, but not the last. On September 4, 2023, another incident near Novorossiysk. The tanker Pavel Chernysh reports underwater collision. Official Russian statement claims accidental grounding. Independent analysis suggests maritime drone strike, damage to port side hull consistent with explosive impact. The vessel limps to port with reduced speed. Cargo delivery delayed by 3 weeks. Pattern emerges. Ukraine systematically targets Russian oil export infrastructure, not just tankers but port facilities. Loading terminals at Novorossiysk and two ops struck by drones, storage tanks hit, pipeline connections damaged. Each attack disrupts the supply chain that moves Russian oil from refineries to international markets. The economic impact compounds daily. Russia exports approximately 5 million barrels of crude oil per day. Black Sea ports handle nearly 1.5 million of that total. Every tanker disabled, every terminal damaged, every delay adds pressure to Russian economy. Oil revenue is 40% of Russian federal budget. Disrupt oil exports and you disrupt government funding. Black Sea Doctrine has been tracking Russian oil flows since the war began. Tanker movements monitored through ship tracking systems, cargo volumes analyzed, export revenue calculated. The data shows clear downward trend starting August 2023. Monthly oil exports through Black Sea ports declined by 25% compared to pre-attack levels. Lost revenue, approximately $3 billion per month. This is economic warfare delivering measurable results. But Russia adapts. Shadow fleet expands. Older vessels purchased through complex ownership structures. Greek, Liberian, Panamanian registrations. Ships that are difficult to sanction and hard to track. Many vessels operate without proper insurance or safety certification. Environmental disasters waiting to happen. Ukraine faces targeting dilemma. Attack obviously military vessels, legitimate. Attack commercial tankers carrying oil, legally ambiguous. International maritime law protects civilian shipping even during war, but when does a civilian tanker become legitimate military target? If the cargo funds weapons that kill Ukrainian civilians, is the ship still protected? Ukraine argues economic warfare is justified. Russian oil revenue directly supports military operations. Tankers are part of the war machine. therefore legitimate targets. International legal experts debate the precedent. Some support Ukrainian position, others worry about erosion of maritime law protections. No clear consensus emerges. Who controls the Black Sea? A. Russia. B. Ukraine and NATO. C. Turkey holds the key. Meanwhile, attacks continue. October 2023 brings coordinated strikes, multiple tankers targeted simultaneously. The Sergei Kotov small oil tanker near Crimean coast struck by maritime drone and severely damaged. The Avior chemical tanker carrying petroleum products reports explosion off Novorossiysk. The Metallurg, aged crude carrier, hit by drone near Kerch Straits and forced to emergency anchor. 3 vessels attacked within 24-hour period. Russian maritime security overwhelmed. Too many ships, too much coastline, not enough patrol boats to protect everything. The vulnerability is structural. Black Sea shipping lanes converge through predictable choke points, Kerch Strait, Bosporus approaches, port approaches to Novorossiysk and Tuops. Ukrainian forces identify high-traffic areas and position drones accordingly. Ships must pass through these zones. No alternative routes exist. Physics and geography favor the attacker. Russian response escalates. Naval escorts assigned to high-value tankers. Corvettes and patrol boats accompany oil carriers through dangerous waters, but escort duty consumes naval resources needed elsewhere. Ships protecting tankers cannot conduct offensive operations. Ukrainian strategy works. Force Russia to choose between protecting oil exports or maintaining naval pressure on Ukraine. There are insufficient resources to do both effectively. But what happened during the November 18th incident changed international perception entirely. The tanker Kaiku, sailing under Gabon flag carrying Russian crude, struck by Ukrainian maritime drone in international waters 50 kilometers south of Sevastopol. The vessel was not in territorial waters, not approaching military port, simply transiting designated shipping lane. The attack sparked immediate diplomatic crisis. Gabon protested. International Maritime Organization demanded explanation. Insurance industry threatened to withdraw coverage from all Black Sea shipping regardless of cargo or destination. Ukraine claimed the Kaiku was carrying Russian military fuel disguised as civilian cargo. Intelligence indicated the tanker's true destination was Syrian port serving Russian naval base, therefore legitimate military target. Evidence provided was circumstantial. The incident highlighted the blurred lines in modern maritime warfare. How do you distinguish legitimate commercial shipping from military supply chains when the same vessels serve both purposes? The Kaiku survived the attack with moderate damage, crew uninjured. But the political damage was significant. Several nations called for restrictions on autonomous weapons in maritime zones. Proposals for protected shipping corridors emerged. Russia leveraged the incident for propaganda, claiming Ukraine targets civilian infrastructure indiscriminately. Is this pushing NATO closer to direct involvement? Comment Y or N. By December 2023, the tanker war reaches equilibrium point. Ukraine demonstrates capability to strike oil shipping throughout Black Sea. Russia accepts losses as cost of maintaining exports. Insurance rates stabilize at elevated levels. Shipping companies develop risk mitigation procedures. Armed guards on tankers, evasive routing, nighttime transits through dangerous areas. The oil continues flowing but at reduced volume and higher cost. Russian export revenue remains suppressed, not catastrophically, but measurably. Every $1 billion lost is hardware not purchased, troops not paid, infrastructure not maintained. Economic attrition accumulates over months. The global energy market feels the impact. Russian oil reaching international buyers declines, prices adjust. Alternative suppliers increase production. Saudi Arabia and UAE partially fill the gap. But the market remains tighter than before. Energy prices stay volatile. European nations paying premium for non-Russian oil. The geopolitical consequences extend beyond immediate combatants. Ukraine's tanker campaign demonstrates that modern asymmetric warfare can disrupt global energy flows. Small nations with limited resources can impose costs on major energy exporters. The precedent worries petroleum-dependent economies worldwide. What if similar tactics spread? Iranian drones attacking Saudi tankers in Persian Gulf. Houthi attacks on ships transiting Red Sea approaches to Suez Canal. Turkish-Greek tensions targeting energy shipments in Aegean Sea. The Black Sea becomes template for maritime economic warfare globally. Energy infrastructure is vulnerable. Oil tankers are slow, predictable targets. Autonomous weapons are cheap and effective. Traditional naval protection is inadequate. The strategic landscape shifts. By January 2024, Russian oil companies invest heavily in enhanced tanker security, reinforced hulls, electronic countermeasures, decoy systems, onboard defense weapons, some vessels equipped with automated machine guns targeting incoming drones. Maritime security industry booms. Technology developed for Black Sea operations sells globally. Israel, South Korea, and European defense contractors offer tanker protection systems. Market demand explodes. The arms race moves to commercial shipping. Ukraine continues operations despite international pressure for restraint. Strategic logic is compelling. Russia must export oil to fund the war. Ukraine must disrupt exports to weaken Russia. Tankers are the vulnerable link. Attack the link. The mathematics are simple, even if the legal and ethical questions are complex. What breaks next? The grain deal, Turkish neutrality, or Russian deterrence? In tanker warfare, the question becomes different. What breaks first? Russian export capacity or Ukrainian drone production? Both sides race to sustain operations. Russia seeks more tankers and better protection. Ukraine builds more drones, improves guidance systems. The contest continues indefinitely. No decisive victory possible, only gradual attrition. By February 2024, shipping data shows new patterns. Russian tankers avoid certain routes, longer voyages around Crimean waters, preference for Western Black Sea closer to Romanian and Bulgarian coasts where Ukrainian drone operations are more difficult. Transit times increase by 30%, fuel costs rise, profit margins compress. The cumulative economic cost exceeds the value of destroyed vessels. This is the true success of Ukraine's tanker campaign, not how many ships sunk, but how much the entire operation costs Russia. Every adaptation has price tag. Every security measure reduces efficiency. Every delayed cargo is lost revenue. The strategy is exhaustion, not annihilation. Trade routes, missiles, and war. Black Sea Doctrine. Will international maritime law adapt to autonomous weapons? Can Russia protect its oil exports indefinitely? Will other nations adopt Ukrainian tanker targeting tactics? The Black Sea tanker war poses questions that extend far beyond immediate conflict. Energy security, maritime law, autonomous weapons regulations, global shipping insurance, all face fundamental challenges because Ukraine demonstrated that cheap drones can threaten the oil that powers the global economy, and once that capability exists, it cannot be uninvented. Subscribe to Black Sea Doctrine, where Black Sea power decides everything.